Hello and welcome to Genyra Diagnostics. Genyra Diagnostics is a precision diagnostics company dedicated to advancing early detection through next-generation molecular and proteomic testing. At the heart of their work is Neotrace, their flagship expanded newborn screening platform designed to identify over 120 rare genetic and metabolic conditions earlier and more accurately than ever before. In this demo, you'll see how Genyra Diagnostics uses Salesforce's Life Science Cloud and Agentforce to power their operations, from streaming requisition workflows and patient support to provider engagement and real-time insights. This is the future of diagnostics: smarter, faster, and centered on care. Let's start by taking a look at Life Sciences Cloud. Here we can see that we are in the Genyra Diagnostics Patient Services app. Here we can easily access our patient, provider, practice, lab, and payer data. Let's take a look at a sample patient. Here we can see Chuck is a 38-year-old male. We have easy access to his demographic and contact information. And thanks to Life Sciences Cloud out-of-the-box payer and insurance model, I can see Chuck is an Aetna PPO plan. Thanks to Life Sciences Cloud, we can also easily track our provider relationships. Here we can see Dr. Andrew Can. I can see that Dr. Andrew's primary facility is Everwell Health Partners. And by viewing his activity history, I can see that Andrew has completed his portal training with us, and we are actively servicing some of his submitted requisitions. Let's take a look at how Genyra's patient services team uses Life Sciences Cloud to manage their requisition processing process. Genyra uses Salesforce's email to case functionality to automate the submission of their requisition PDF form. Here in our inbound request queue, I can see that a new submission has been made. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Here I can see that this email has come from acan@everwell.com. And more importantly, if I look over here in files, I can actually see the submitted Neotrace requisition form. Now, as a patient services intake member, I can use that form to start processing the requisition. Using advanced automation features, Life Sciences Cloud can guide our intake reps on a seamless process to ensure data accuracy, speed, and efficiency. Let's go ahead and click on our Neotrace order button. So the first step in our process is going to be seeing if Sam is already a patient within our system. It looks like Sam is already a patient in our system, so let's go ahead and select him. Now I can confirm that his information is correct, or I can update it if I'd like. Next, I'll go ahead and look for the submitting provider, which in this case is Dr. Andrew Can. And I can begin inputting the critical clinical and billing information. Here I can now see that my order has been created. I can see that my test has been created. And I can see that my samples have been created. Now that our intake team has completed this process, we can send our test and sample details down to our lab and accessioning teams. Now, this is a really great process, but Genyra wanted to use Agentforce to automate the process of these requisition forms. So let's take a look at this process. Here we can see that Dr. Andrew Can is looking to submit a form for Chuck Kahn. Now, if I actually look in our system and I go back and I look at our patients, I can actually see that Chuck Kahn is already a patient in our system. So let's go ahead and submit this and watch Agentforce in action. Here we can see that this case was routed to a requisition submission queue, which is monitored by our requisition intake agent. As soon as this case hits the queue, our agent starts working on it. And let's summarize what exactly our agent is doing. Our agent is reviewing the attached requisition form, it's getting all the details from it, and then it is using these details to either find an existing patient or create a new one. It's also identifying our provider. It's using the form information to create our related order, test, and sample, and then updating our case once the processing is done. So here we can see that it has left our requisition submission queue, and I can see that it is now in our inbound patient services request queue for our reps to review and verify the information. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. So here I can see our form that came in. I can also see now that we have our submitting physician populated. We have this case related to Chuck Kahn, our existing patient. I can see that the order was created. I can see that our reasoning for testing came through. I can see our test information. And I can also see our sample information, such as the collection date, as well as the sample type, all pulled from our form automatically. Now let's take a look at an example where perhaps the patient isn't in our system. So here we have a scenario where Dr. Andrew is going to be submitting a requisition form on behalf of a new patient, Sean Saylor. So here I can see Sean is no longer in our system. So let's go ahead and submit that form. So here we can see that our case has made it into the requisition submission queue, which our agent is monitoring. As soon as it hits the queue, the agent starts to process it. I can see that it's been processed and it's in our inbound patient services request queue for review and verification. And if I look down here, I can see that we have a patient, Sean Saylor, in our system. I can see that we got details such as his first name, last name, his birth date, his ethnicity, and his address, all pulled from that related form, which Agentforce assisted us with processing. So let's take a quick look under the hood so we can understand exactly what Agentforce is doing. Here's an example of what you would see on the back end. So here we can see as soon as this case hits the queue, we start to process it. And one of the great things about Agentforce is its reasoning engine. So it is using the actions that it has access to start processing and taking the steps just like a human would. So here we can see that it starts to execute a couple of actions for us. So here it takes the case ID and it gets the attachment and it processes that attachment and returns structured data. So here we can see all of our data that came through. So things like first name, last name, the address, all of the details about the provider, the billing information, the details about the sample, the details about the submitting provider, and then uses that information to go through and find or create a patient record. So in this example, it used the information from Sam to actually find that existing patient ID. It then uses the MPI to find the related provider. And then it starts to take all of that information that we've collected to date, and it submits it for processing of the order, the test, and the sample. And then once it's completed that, it goes ahead and it updates the case with all the relevant information. And I didn't have to tell the agent how to do all these steps. I just had to give it access to those actions, and it knew how to process them based on the information that it had. Another great thing about Life Sciences Cloud is the ability to create extremely branded and personalized portals. So Genyra Diagnostics has also decided to use Life Sciences Cloud to provide a personalized portal to their providers. Here we can see what this experience would be like for Dr. Andrew. On the home page, Andrew can submit a test using a similar guided experience that our intake reps have. He can also access his submitted orders. and get key details about them. Genyra can also provide key resources and thought leadership content to Andrew. Another great thing about this provider portal is Andrew has access to Lyra, which is Genyra's provider support agent. Here, Andrew can get answers to questions about what insurance covers Neotrace. So here I can see insurance providers such as Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare all cover Neotrace, or perhaps Andrew needs to know what the shipping instructions are for Neotrace. So here we get step-by-step instructions on what's needed to be done to collect a sample and ship it. Or perhaps Andrew wants an update on a recently submitted order. Based on this request, Lyra can guide us on collecting the information it needs to identify and find the order. And now, with having to contact our service reps, Dr. Andrew knows that his test has been received, the report is under review, and I should receive it within the next week. Thank you for exploring how Genyra Diagnostics is using Salesforce Life Sciences Cloud to transform the provider and patient experience. Genyra believes that earlier answers lead to healthier futures, and with the right tools and technology, they're making that belief a reality, one patient at a time. To learn more about how Torrent is redefining diagnostics or to schedule a deeper walkthrough, visit us at torrentconsulting.com or connect with our team.